and Charles, and I think those are the only two PowerPoints. I think Jeff and Chan are doing without. So I'm just keeping them on here. Here's that's that. Yours is down here.
So I noticed Mike is checking out the water supply up here. Thanks to the previous Mike. So for our second panel this afternoon, we've got the government panel. And government panel is going to be chaired by Mike Bevan. Come on in, folks, and have a seat. Mike is with the Department of Commerce, NOAA Office of Space Commercialization. And prior to that, he had several different jobs in government affairs kinds of jobs with the Satellite Industries Association and with the AIAA. And prior to that, spent some time on some various House committees for science and technology. So with that introduction, brief introduction, Mike?
Okay, thanks, Klaus. Let's see. Okay. Well, good afternoon, and welcome to Space Transportation Week here in Washington, D.C. It seems like we're seeing each other almost every day. I'd like to thank the AIAA staff, Klaus and Ross Bell, Steve Howell, and Craig Day for making this event possible. And as Klaus mentioned, I'm Mike Bevan. I'm from the Department of Commerce, the Office of Space Commercialization. And I think Patty said it earlier that they weren't NASA, and we're not NASA either. But I'd like to start today with just a shameless plug for our office, since we're a small office and we take every opportunity to put a plug in. So let me I have a couple of slides here, just 52 or so. We'll go through them really quick. It's actually just two. So. But yeah, the Office of Space Commercialization was established in 1988 in the Department of Commerce. It's the industry advocate within the executive branch, and in 2004, it was transferred by legislation over to NOAA. Our vision is for a robust and responsive U.S. industry that is the world leader in space commerce. And then we have what we call portfolios that we look at, and the national space policies, of course. Commercial remote sensing, NOAA is also the licensing and regulatory agency for commercial remote license satellites. Position, navigation, and timing is also, that's a fancy way of saying GPS. We house the P&T National Coordination Office within our office. Today, as a matter of fact, they have an executive committee meeting, so we have the deputy secretaries of DOD and DOT and our folks at DOC meeting to talk about GPS issues on the government side. Space transportation is another issue that's near and dear to our heart. We play a supporting role to the FAA Office of Space Commercial Space Transportation. Patty was the head of that, and they're a large office compared to us. We have just about 8 people actually, and their office is a little bit bigger with about 60 now, I believe. Another area we look at is what we call entrepreneurial space. Operational U.S. civil requirements is another area. That's hosting, say, NOAA science payloads on commercial platforms, things like that. And of course, our favorites, industrial base and export control, which we're actually starting to see some interesting things in that world. Our website's very easy, space.commerce.gov, and this is an old snapshot of it, but we're trying to create a little bit more of a Web 2.0 atmosphere, if you will, with our website. We have an RSS feed now, and like I said, we're a small office of about 8 people, but we have so many interns this summer, we're almost outnumbered, and Phil Larson and Tommy Sanford, they're in the audience here, are interning with us. They're from the GW Space Policy Institute. They're grad students there. And they'll probably be mingling around looking for a job from some people during the next break. So they're very, very smart guys. So, that's actually all I want to do for my office. And then what I want to do is, I think in the interest of time, since the last panel, we got into a lot of good questions and things, so I think I want to leave ample time for that. What I'd like to do is introduce our panelists and then do a little bit different. I want to pose a few questions at the beginning, and so we can all kind of think about those during the presentations. And I believe the bios for the panelists are going to be posted along with today's proceedings. So to utilize our time more efficiently, I'll just go straight to the panelists for their presentations. I'll go ahead and introduce them. First, we have Jeff Yowder from NASA. He's the Director of Constellation Systems Division at NASA. Mr. Ken Davidian, he's the Program Lead for Encourage, Facilitate, and Promote Division at the Office of Commercial Space Transportation. I like that title. Chan Liu is a Senior Professional Staff on the Committee of Commerce, Science, and Transportation in the U.S. Senate. And then Mr. Jeff Bingham, who almost all of us know, I'm sure, who's a Senior Advisor on Space and Aeronautics for the Minority Staff, Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation, Subcommittee on Science and Space in the U.S. Senate. So with that, I will sit down and we'll let Jeff kick it off. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I forgot my, this was my, my whole thing. Okay. So let me pose a few thoughts here. So currently, the U.S. commercial space transportation relies on a monopoly. That's really the government is the only buyer here in the United States, and with the exception of the government-operated space shuttle and the Russian Soyuz, the U.S. government currently procures all space launch services from U.S. commercial launch providers, NASA, NOAA, Air Force, for example. They purchase their satellite launches from the 3 U.S. Launch operators we heard from before, SpaceX, Orbital Sciences, United Launch Alliance. So the question is, are we at or near the beginning of a change in the commercial space transportation in our country? And then do you see this, foresee this change, this near future commercial space enabling a larger marketplace? Another point, the groundbreaking ceremony for Spaceport America is actually tomorrow. And the question is this a sign of a robust industry, finally getting off the ground? It's a little bit more directed towards Ken with ROV markets there. And then finally, commercial crew and cargo has always been a critical component of the constellation architecture. I think we're going to hear more about that in just a minute. Utilizing commercial services for ISS allows NASA to focus its resources and expertise on exploration beyond low orbit. However, there seems to be a communication gap, if you will, now between the nature of COTS and CRS and some of the policymakers on the Hill. So if that communication gap does exist, how do we go about mitigating that problem? So with just a few questions there, I want to go ahead and turn it over to Jeff so we can get rolling. Okay. Thanks.
Lighting's everything, right? Well, the first panel, it was great just listening to the dialogue and the different opinions and different approaches, and it's to me it's a sign of the enthusiasm that the community has. As we've talked in different conferences and stuff, and different panels, not just here but other AIAA and other sessions, just the dialogue itself is to me exciting. We may have difference of opinions, we may have different approaches, but the dialogue is going on, and the enthusiasm you can see is starting to swell up. So this is great. What I've been asked to do is talk a little bit about the Commercial Crew and Cargo program, kind of an overview. And what was great about having the panel that was going in front of us